good evening, everybody. That's right. It is Tuesday evening, and you all know what that means. It is time once again for the round table. Man, I'm really hyped this week. I got a lot to talk about, but I will get to my personal thoughts later on. For those of you who watch the regular, you know what that means. But let's get it going here. Of course, I am never alone. I am I don't know, the master and commander. I guess I try to right this ship as best I can. But again, I work with these two, so that's not always easy. But I'm Nick
Hey
Rosario,
now.
and you just wish you could be. And then, of course, my beautiful co-host. And a matter of fact, real quickly, Delilah, because I find the stupidest things funny. Okay, and
Okay.
so follow me here on this one really quickly. As you know, you see Delilah, beautiful young lady. She has a fiance named Kevin. Now, Kevin's going to be mad at me for this, but that's all right. We're friends. He'll get over it. Kevin has been growing his hair for the last few years. Okay, just for some context here, kids. And he looks like he belongs in an 80s hair band for sure. I love Kev. His hair looks great. Okay. But follow me here. For those of you who are followers or know a little bit about your Bible, you know that Delilah dated a guy named Samson with long hair, right? So all I'm saying to Kev is you better be careful because if you ever piss Delilah off, she's going to cut your hair and there goes your strength, my friend.
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
saying you got to beware. I'm sorry. Again, I find the dumbest things fun to me. And the parallel there was just too great for me to pass up.
Of course.
And chat real quick. Kevin, I love you. Delilah, you know I love you. Delilah Crespo, of course.
Hey.
One of my lovely co-hosts. How you doing? How you doing, Delilah?
Doing
How's
great.
it
That
going?
was funny. That was funny. No, I wasn't.
You know.
I wasn't ready for the fall rain, so I'm like, but that's all right. It is what it is, right? It's October.
Chicago in October, baby. It's Halloween season means it's rainy season. Happens all the time. I tell you. Well, and of course, there's a third member to our group. Our buddy down there, actor, singer, I don't know, a florist. I don't know. He probably plants tomatoes or something in the office. Who knows? But anyways, he's Mr. Fingers, man of a thousand trades. Anthony Handy, how you doing there, Anthony? How's it going tonight, man?
Wait a minute. Delilah got called beautiful and got a whole Bible story, and you call me a tomato plant actor.
Hey, at least I didn't say you were a tomato can. If you were a boxer.
God.
And you're a man of many talents. I don't know.
Right.
You do like food,
Right.
so I don't know. You could have like an herb garden or vegetable garden or something.
I thought when I said just actor, singer, like I gave your accolades too before
I'm giving you a
called you a
hard
florist.
time, man. I'm giving you
I know
a
you
hard
are.
time, man.
I know. I know how it goes.
Look,
I know how it goes.
Only black florist I ever saw was Bubba Smith in Police Academy. That was it.
That's right, and that was the best. That was funny though. That was really...
Add that one to the list. Just footnote.
Oh yeah, there you go. Police Academy. Talk about that.
Yeah, man,
too.
doing good, man. Doing good. Having a good week at work so far. It's only Tuesday. We didn't get any rain, but it's starting to chill off, which I'm happy for.
Right.
I would take 87 degrees and warm any day over 115 degrees and just in hella hot all the time. Just
yeah, I'm with you, brother.
The heat in Oklahoma in the summer is like the wind in Chicago in the winter. There's no getting away from it.
Yeah, that is very true. And again, we always want to thank the people who are watching. I see Nicole in there, David in there, Nathan in there, Andrew in there. Appreciate you guys all watching. But as you know, no football game can start until there's a coin toss. Let's get it going. Okay. So this week for the coin toss, we definitely want to talk real quickly about coaches. For those of you who may not be aware, Matt Rule was let go. Hello, Sydney. Sydney's in there as well. We appreciate that. Matt Rule was let go by the Panthers after a really bad start this year. This was a guy who was on a major contract, 7 years. He only got 2.5, but they still owe him $40 million. So really, Matt Rule doesn't really have to do anything but sit at home and twiddle his thumbs and eat bonbons on the couch. But this begs the question.
He got the Bobby Bonilla deal.
Yeah, exactly. Gets $1 million every year, right, for the next 40 or whatever. But yes, for sure. Matt Rule let go. This does beg the question though. And Handy, I'll start with you, sir. Was this warranted? Was this too soon, too late? What do you think about Matt Rule getting the old can there?
Too soon, too late. This should have been. Look, this is almost like when you have that family member they come out and tell everybody that they got a drug problem. We're like, baby, we all been knowing you had a drug problem. They should have been done this. They should have done this a minute ago. Matt Rule was just not. He wasn't like Cedric the Entertainer say his curl didn't quite curl all the way around. He wasn't quite there for the you know what I mean? And Nate brings up exactly what I was getting ready to get at. I was going to mention that because he asked me about that yesterday. I don't think he was fit for coaching pro ball. Pro ball and college ball are two different animals. And
yes, they are.
That's my thing. He couldn't. I mean, dude, look, couldn't spell cat if you spotted him C and A. That's how good a coach he was.
All right, there you go.
Hey, and I just wanted to add for the record, Nick, because you asked me how I was doing. I just wanted to say for the record that I am very happy to be here.
And there it is. The show can now go on because then we finally got the official Anthony Handy seal of we can keep moving here, folks. Now, Delilah, of course, Matt Rule was fired, but there's other coaches on the hot seat and a couple of names that I found interesting. So I'm going to ask you about a couple of these because one is a former Bears player of ours and a certain coach of the Washington Commanders. So, producer Sean, you might want to go away for about 3 minutes while we bag on your boy. But doesn't it seem like Ron Rivera might be in line for a firing as well if Washington can't turn the ship around here?
Yes, but will they fire him? I don't know. I mean, to be fair to him, he's not like he didn't sign Carson Wentz, you know. That was a front office decision, you know what I mean? So at the same time, so when he had his when he spoke truth from his soul, when they asked him the question, right? What do the other teams in the NFC East have that they don't? And he literally just said quarterback. Like he didn't. There was no hesitation. Like it was just like
in his whole chest.
Yeah, he just said quarterback. You know, and he didn't walk back that answer. He hasn't. Usually like they'll come back. Next day, like, oh, it's not what I meant to say. It's blah 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 blah. None of that has happened, and I agree with him though. Like when you have someone like Scary Terry, right? I'm sure he apologized to the team, but I bet you he doesn't disagree with what he said.
Right.
I said it, I meant it, but I'm sorry.
I feel like when you have someone like Scary Terry, which we talk about all the time, right? When you have how is he supposed to grow and shine if he doesn't have that you know what I mean? Like, how are we supposed to grow that guy if he doesn't have that franchise quarterback?
No, I mean, O-line problems. They got a few problems there in Washington that they've been dealing with. Yeah,
but at the same time, if you don't have, just that connection, like anytime I see them out there, I don't feel like. I don't see that. I don't know. I don't see that meshing. And I know we talk about O-line all the time because, and they're not the only team that's dealing with those, with those O-line issues. I feel like a lot of guys have gone down. We've talked about last week, there's over 200 injuries, right?
Yeah,
and they just
exactly.
They just keep piling up. So, but I don't, will Dan Snyder fire him? I don't know. He likes him though, right? So that's sometimes too.
Well, he's a good guy, but, but
no, I know. But you're right, but like it's coming from someone who comes from an organization that doesn't know how to hire anybody.
Right, that's true.
And, or we'll stick to somebody for like a million years, even though we're like, hey, like it's probably time to jump ship. I don't know if he'll actually get fired. You know what I mean?
I mean, he may not, but I just feel like something's got to happen there.
I just don't see that.
I mean, okay, no, that's fair. I mean, he's a name being mentioned, just in that sense. Like, also, there's a couple other names which I find interesting. Frank Reich, took over in Indianapolis a few years ago, and Frank is not doing well. He went through Carson Wentz as well, and now he's got Matt Ryan, and they're struggling on offense. They lost Jonathan Taylor for a couple of weeks. We don't know exactly how long he'll be out. But also Josh McDaniels, and again, McDaniels is an interesting one to me because he goes to the Raiders, right? He finally takes this head coaching job. And he's got, they get Devontae Adams, they bring him in. You got Hunter Renfrow. Josh Jacobs is on fire this year. The guy's been running his butt off. You got Derek Carr. I mean, yeah, the defense may, but but you still got Max Crosby, a couple of these other guys, and they're just not winning. Like you can say whatever you want. You're 1-4 in one of the, and what we thought would be one of the toughest divisions this year in football, and you just can't get over the hump. And then we could argue the coaching decision yesterday about not trying to kick the extra point with 4 minutes left. It's not like it was the end of the game. You could have tied the game and then stopped them on defense, which you did, and you did get the ball back. So, a lot of things going on there. Again, there's always, we could talk about this forever about coaching speculation and that, but I just wanted to touch on that a little bit with Rule getting fired. So we will be keeping an eye on this situation, and of course, if anyone else gets fired, we will definitely bring that up and talk about that. Now let's go ahead. Sydney says at one point they had Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur all on their coaching staff. They knew how to hire at one point. Well, somehow, Sydney, they forgot because now it's just not working for them at all. But I get your point, my friend.
Yeah.
Let's do the opposite side of the coin. And to me, this is what I like to talk about. I know it's early. We're only 5 games in, but potential coaches of the year. And for me, and I'll ask you guys maybe your opinion, but there's 3 guys, and they kind of all come from the same division. But early coach of the year candidates, right? Brian Daboll possibly in New York for what the Giants are doing at 4-1. Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia with the Eagles being 5-0. And of course, the coach the coach that everybody loves to hate, but the guy's 4-1 with a backup quarterback, Mike McCarthy in Dallas. What do you guys think of those early coach of the year candidates? Delilah, we'll start with you.
I've actually been seeing those tossed around as well, and I think the one that I see elevated the most is Brian Daboll, and I think the reason is because we remember the Giants for the last 2 seasons, right? We've seen them completely collapse, have problem years after years, had solid guys up and down, right? Saquon Barkley, he's been like key, and so like, I see why he's a front runner. Like I get why, of course, your 5-0 is going to be up there, and you're 4-1. But I think the reason I've been seeing Brian Daboll more is because he took a, crap team. You know what I mean?
Because Daniel Jones is his quarterback. Is that what you're saying, Delilah?
Yes, with Daniel Jones as quarterback, they're winning football games, right? You know what I mean? And I think that you have to give him credit on some of those plays that he does, right? Like he can't, regardless of what anybody thinks. Like, again, as someone who's been stuck in the same division as Green Bay and Mr. Aaron Rodgers for like a decade now, when you come back against Matt LaFleur and beat like Green Bay and beat Aaron Rodgers, that to me is huge, especially when they had the lead on you, right? So, so I think that, those last few plays that he did that got them that W, I could see why Brian Daboll is up there, right? Why he's above a 5-0 Eagles and a 4-1 Dallas team. But I could see why those 3 names are. But I could see why Brian Daboll is really up there. So
okay, Candy, what about you? What do you think? Early on favorites? You got someone else in mind, or what do you think of these 3? Oh, can't hear you, buddy. Take that mute button off.
Sorry, I am
extremely. Hey, now that's all right.
I am extremely impressed with what has been. Hello there, this is your guy, Mr. Fingers from WKYL.
Hey, are you distracted, bro? Like, I'm just asking. I don't like to get in the middle of stuff, but like, did your wife all of a sudden pop at the door and want to talk to you about something?
No, what?
What?
No,
I'm just giving you crap, bro.
Man, stop, man. Look, you got me last week with Shannon Sharp. That's good. Okay, we good. We good. I'm like Kevin Hart. We good. We good. Yeah. We good. No, I'm just playing.
Right, we good. Okay.
No, sure. I have been extremely impressed with what I have seen out of the NFC East with those 3 teams this year. Dallas, I expected them to, patch together, to go lick their wounds because they did have some guys who were beaten, banged up at the end of the season. But I did expect them to lick their wounds and come back firing on all cylinders after the year that they had last year. Philadelphia, a lot of people are going, oh, my God, Philadelphia. People act like Philadelphia wasn't just. I know they don't have Philadelphia wasn't just in the Super Bowl a while ago.
Right.
Okay. So the base was there. And now the Giants, oh, my God. After somebody just pulled the battery pack out of Eli, and he just ran out of gas, and he just seriously he was like that toy that was just hanging on, and Tom Coughlin was on the sidelines looking constipated. And seriously, like
wow,
seriously, the Giants, it just seemed like they were pretty much done. But dude, when somebody told me when I found out last week the Giants were 3-1, I went, what?
yeah,
I know it's
yeah.
early. I know it's early in the season, but I'm used to the Giants
Right.
from a few years ago at this point being like week 7, like the Giants won their first game of the season. This is
Right. I got you. Yeah, for
so
sure.
I definitely. Everything Delilah said about New York, I'm 100% on board. I'm not necessarily a fan because that's another team that beat the Falcons out of the playoffs. There's a long list of them, folks. Just get ready to hear me say that
got
in a
you.
given point. But yes, I'm 100%. I'm 100% with what Delilah said. Wow, the Giants. Wow, Dallas. I'm always expecting them to reload and have a great season. Maybe not make it into the playoffs or win in the playoffs, but I expect Dallas every 3-4 years to have something. Philadelphia is kind of leaning that way now. We expected some things out of Philadelphia, but New York, 100%,
right.
100.
No, I hear you. And my 2 cents, really, like, I know it's early again, but these are coaches that came up in discussion, of course. And if the Eagles continue, and there's a big matchup obviously this week with the Eagles and Cowboys that might tell a lot for this division. But I mean, Sirianni, right? Like, because Philadelphia, people are like, okay, Jalen Hurts, they weren't sold on him, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's not going to be as good, but they did bring in A.J. Brown, that sort of thing. And then they've shown so far, and again, they've had a couple of close games, but the fact is they've come out on top. Right. And so sitting there at the only undefeated team, it's hard not to be like, Sirianni, you might be doing something right there, my friend. Because a lot of people, some people did. Some people did predict Philadelphia to really go far this year. And other people, and like me, I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong because I kind of saw Philadelphia maybe somewhere in the middle of the division, not exactly at the top, but that's where they are and that's where they sit. So again, it's early, but we like to do these kind of fun things just to kind of get the conversation started and get people talking on the chat, of course, because that's what we like to do is read the comments. Those are most fun. But for right now, that's it for the coin toss. So right now, let's go to one of our fantastic videos, and we'll be right back in just a minute or so. All righty there. So there you go. That's a video for the Ladies Takeover show. And you're wondering, hey, Nick, why did you show that video right at that time? Well, I'll tell you why. Because one of the co-hosts of that lovely ladies show on Thursdays, where the Ladies Takeover, is, of course, one of our co-hosts, Delilah Crespo. And, of course, it's time for one of the favorite segments on this show. Here's Delilah with this week or this day in NFL history. All right.
Hi.
Take it away, Delilah.
Hey, everybody. All right. So just a few little things. So basically, all right, on this day. So on October 11th, 1925, talking about the Giants, kind of funny. They played their first ever game in 1925 against Providence, and they lost 14-0. The Steamrollers, who used to play for Providence, scored twice in the second quarter, a blocked punt recovery in the end zone, and a 92-yard kickoff return by Cy Wentworth is what sealed the deal. So again, on this day in 1925, the Giants played their first ever NFL game, only to lose 14-0. October 11th, 1981, Tommy Kramer passes for 444 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Minnesota Vikings edged the San Diego Chargers 33-31. Boy, I wish, I'm sure people hope they could see somebody like that again. I mean, I know people love Mr. Kirk Cousins, right? We know we got a lot of fans, but just saying, that's kind of wild. So October 11th, 1981, Tommy Kramer passes for 444 yards and 4 touchdowns in a Minnesota Vikings win, 33-31 to the then San Diego Chargers. October 11th, 1992, Deion Sanders famously suits up for 2 games. Although people assumed for a long time that he actually played for both games that day, he actually didn't. He suited up for both, but he only actually played the Atlanta Falcons game. So basically, the way that Sanders' day started was the Atlanta Falcons traveled to the Orange Bowl at 1 p.m. Eastern to play against the Miami Dolphins. In that game, they won 21-17. Sanders returned 2 kicks and a punt, caught a pass for 9 yards, and was part of the Falcons' defensive unit even, because we know he kind of played, they always moved him around. So he played in the Falcons game. He then hopped on a jet plane, on a helicopter to make it to the game where the Atlanta Braves were playing against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But even though he was suited up and ready to go, he actually didn't play a single inning of baseball. He is very upset about that. There's a 30 for 30 documentary out there. I don't know if you've seen it, where he talks about that day. He feels that a lot of people failed him and not allowing him, on the baseball side. He's still really upset that he actually didn't get to play in that game. So again, October 11th, 1992, Deion Sanders flew back and forth to play in 2 different sports, but only managed to play in the Atlanta Falcons game. The last thing, October 11th, 2009, Kurt Warner passes for 301 yards in Arizona's 28-21 win over Houston. It's the 50th 300-yard game for Warner in 113 games, making him the fastest to reach 50 in NFL history. Prior to him, that went to Dan Marino. He broke a Dan Marino record, who made it to the over 300 games in 176 games. So again, that's what happened on this day in NFL history.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Delilah, for that. We do appreciate that. Always check back every week with Delilah. She gives you everything that's happened on this day or during this week in NFL history. Now it's time for our next segment, which is our game of the week. And as you know, if you've been watching, we bring on our special guest. This week is no different. This gentleman you could see on Sundays on the Fantasy Show. And of course, he's been a guest on some of the other shows throughout the last couple of years. So let's please welcome to the program, probably one of the Dallas Cowboys I could stand. There's only about 2 or 3 of them, because I think most of them are obnoxious, but he's not a bad guy. So please welcome to the program, Mr. David Wright. David, come on in. How are you?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. There are very few Dallas Cowboys fans that I can stand as well.
There you go. See, that's what I'm saying. You asked today, I can tolerate. That's about it.
Entrance planned. But apparently the NFL shop is sold out of Cooper Rush jerseys.
Get out of here.
It wasn't able to be here in time with the clown mask and all that. It was going to be
That's great. Well, listen, David, let's get into it because, hey, you, my friend, have plenty of reasons to smile right now with your Cowboys sitting there at 4-1 with a big game with the Eagles this weekend. But I do got to ask you, I want to get your opinion on this for sure. Cooper Rush is 4-0 as a starter, okay? We all know Dak is going to be back at some point because he is your franchise quarterback. But I'm going to ask you, do you disrupt, if you keep winning with Cooper, do you disrupt that just to give Dak his job back? Or does Cooper Rush continue to play? What do you think there?
See, this is tough for me. I just went through this a few years back. They built that team, that offensive line, for Tony Romo. I really believe that if Romo hadn't gotten hurt, we would have absolutely been just a terrifying team that year. But something very interesting happened. He goes down, Dak comes in, and Dak is professional game manager his rookie year. Our team as a whole is just rolling. We didn't really have a lot of weaknesses. And then over the next couple of years, everybody from our fan base to our ownership to our coaching tried to make Dak into something he's not. I'm sorry, Dak is not Aaron Rodgers. he is not the guy who's going to step in and win games off of his talent and his arm. The reason we're winning right now is because Cooper Rush is doing exactly what Dak did his entire rookie season. He is managing the game, albeit not as well as Dak did then. Cooper's gotten really lucky. He threw some interceptions that were overturned by penalties. He fumbled the ball twice this last week. We just didn't lose it either time. He has almost turned the ball over a lot, and we've gotten lucky. Our defense is it's something special to watch right now. Of course,
it's pretty good.
My life is a
pretty
Cowboy
damn good.
Family. You know, we pump money into the offense every year. We have a terrible defense since the Super Bowl days, and now we finally have a defense, and our offense is just falling apart. So yeah.
Well, yeah, isn't that always the way? Talk to the Ravens about that one, my friend. No, I'm kidding. But again, given the fact that again, Dallas is 4-1, man. You got a big game with the Eagles this week. Does this game establish? I guess what I'm trying to say is, does this game establish them? They can beat the Eagles. Are you convinced then that the Cowboys are for real? With or without, with Cooper Rush or with Dak Prescott? Do we think that the defense will carry these guys this season?
Cooper Rush is not the guy. Let's just stop that now. Okay, Cooper Rush is not the guy. Cooper Rush is coming in, doing exactly what he's told, and what he's being told is don't mess up. The defense will keep us in this game. Just don't screw it up. I hope that Dak has been watching. I really do, because Dak gets outside of himself. I think Dak has started to believe his own hype. Dak needs to manage the game. And honestly, I think the best thing that could happen this week is that we sit Dak one more week. I don't care how healthy he is. Give our defense an opportunity to go see Jalen Hurts and that offense, and let Cooper Rush get absolutely annihilated and just embarrassed on national TV.
Okay.
Put that aside.
So that'll stop all the talk? Yeah.
What's that?
And it'll stop all the talk about Cooper Rush? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes. And it'll get back one more week. And it won't give the Eagles – it'll kind of take away the Eagles' defense's shot at getting a feel for our offense this year. I don't see any benefit to throwing Dak in there that outweighs the possible negatives. If Dak goes in there, he's rusty, he has a bad game, that's going to be in his head the rest of the year. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want Dak to come back and, get this Cooper Rush thing behind him, come back, play the game the right way, be a game manager, trust your defense, and take a shot at Philly later in the year.
Okay, so real quick then, Nate did ask the question. Obviously, Tony Pollard, when he's gotten the ball, has been great. But obviously, Zeke is the man. They paid him, give me my money. And so Zeke is the featured back. He's the man. But what do you think of this? What do you think of Zeke Elliott and what he's done so far? And, Tony Pollard kind of right behind him.
That's a tough one. Zeke, the mileage is showing on Zeke with the injuries over the last couple of years. He's a power runner. We talked about this on the fantasy show briefly, and the change in the running back position that we're seeing right now with all of these running back committees that are actually being very successful. The two of them complement each other amazingly well. I don't think that Tony Pollard would have nearly as much success without Zeke. And I think that he is prolonging Zeke's career. So from my perspective, I don't care how much we paid either one of them. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. Zeke will wear defenses down, and Tony Pollard will come in and roll out 57-yard touchdowns.
Right, exactly. No, yeah, for sure. No, that's great. I mean, it's like you said, it's great to have that kind of 1-2 punch. That's what I'm, to be honest, that's what I'm hoping for in Chicago with Montgomery and Herbert at some point. That 1-2 punch will take care of us and carry us. But David, we appreciate the Cowboy talk, but we're going to move on a little bit here. As you know, this is the game of the week, and David has been nice enough to pick our game for us. So let's get into that. We got Kansas City and Buffalo that David has picked. So Delilah, I'm going to start with you. Your thoughts this week on Kansas City and Buffalo. Delilah, go ahead, honey. Uh-oh. Technical
Sorry, I was,
difficulties. She'll be with us in a
no,
moment.
I was
No,
just
no problem.
unmuting myself. Anyway,
Yeah, no problem.
no, I'm actually excited because everybody is really. It's a good game to pick because I think it's not just the game of the week. To me, it's America's game. You know what I mean? They always have one. This is definitely
Right.
it because after what happened last year, we all saw it, right? That overtime, that back and forth, the duking it out. There's no way people are not anticipating. And both of these guys have been balling out. I mean, insane. Both have been just insane touchdowns after touchdowns. We saw both of them last week, this past week scored multiple touchdowns for insane amount of passing yards. So I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be a good time. Again, I want to give the edge to the Bills only because their defense is better.
Okay, fair enough.
Only because we saw that against the Raiders, right? But the Raiders actually, actually scoring on their defense. We saw that, right? So it's not like no one saw that. The Raiders lost, but at the same time, they did score on that Chiefs defense. So they're gonna have to Chiefs are gonna have to figure that out because you can't do that with the Bills, right? You might come back against the Raiders, but if you're down 17-0 against the Bills and that defense, that's not going to be the same story. You know what I mean? So I hope it goes wild. I really want to see the touchdowns fly, but I don't know. I feel like both defenses are going to be on alert, but we'll see. But I'm excited. Sure. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Well, Handy, I'm going to come to you next, buddy. Isn't this the battle of the quarterbacks? I mean, you've got Josh Allen,
100%.
You've got Patrick Mahomes. This is the future, present and future of the NFL. Give your opinion on this matchup, especially with the two quarterbacks involved.
Listen, Delilah said that both defenses are on alert. Both defenses were on alert last year. There was more at stake in that game last year, and they still lit the scoreboard up. I think this is what I'm looking forward to. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's almost going to be like the NBA All-Star game, all offense and defense. I just want to see the scoreboard get lit up. I want to see Patrick Mahomes doing 360 behind his back passes. Josh Allen do the Vinsanity dunk after a quarterback sneak in the goalpost. I'm being extreme. I'm being extreme, but this is a game that I am going to be glued to the TV computer wherever I can watch it. Cell phone, I don't care. Yeah. I want to see this game. Not only that, as a connoisseur of cooking and a thick boy, you can't not be excited about the home of some of the country's best barbecue against the place that gave us birth to the best wings on the face of the planet. I'm just saying.
And on that note, we're going to go to David. No, but seriously, again, both offenses are juggernauts. We know that. So this is a game that might come down to who can make a stop. David, if you had to pick a defense right now, though, who would you pick in this game? Who gets the stop?
Okay, so this game, for me, I completely agree with everything that Anthony and Delilah just said. I am going to be glued to this game. To be honest, I am really pulling for Buffalo. It was back in week 2. Kansas City played the Chargers, and we do a work pool, pick'ems and whatnot. And I told everybody this game decides the Chargers season. If Justin Herbert and that team can't come out and claim that division for themselves and make a statement in this game, the Chargers are done in my mind. Chargers are done.
Okay.
Buffalo is the last man standing. Buffalo has not been able to get over this hump with Kansas City, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, who is, the top quarterback in the league. I am just excited for one, but I really hope that Buffalo takes this game and this rivalry continues to build. Kansas City's at home and they're getting 2.5 points. Even Vegas isn't given any love either way. No. They're not even getting the 3 points for being at home. I'm going to take Buffalo in this because I think the chip on their collective shoulder, having to sit back and watch what Kansas City's done over the last couple of years and losing that game last year. There were a bunch of us, we were all in a video chat watching that game. It was 3 quarters of absolute garbage and then just explosion. explosive.
Exactly.
You know, it was like both teams were trying to hold back because they knew that whoever scored last was going to win that game, and then they just go back. I am hoping Buffalo can take this. However, Patrick Mahomes has made a name for himself in winning these type of games. This is what Patrick Mahomes does. So if Josh Allen can't add that to his bag of tricks, being able to win these close games against division rivals and the Chiefs, then I think we'll see a regression in Buffalo, and I don't want to see that.
Okay, fair enough. No. You know, again, my thing on this whole thing is that I wish this game was a little later in the year when both teams would have much, with more games under their belt, just because then we could say definitively this is the game that's going to determine who takes the AFC in a sense. I mean, we get it in week 6, and that's fine. And luckily our beloved Bear play on Thursday, so that Sunday, hopefully, this is the game of the week I get on television here in Chicago, because this is one I definitely don't want to miss. And I kind of want to, Kate saying go Bills, Allen and Diggs are a fierce duo. They are. But I've been impressed, and I'm not going to lie about this, with the way that Patrick Mahomes, not having Tyreek Hill, his main receiver that everybody's talked about, has managed to spread the ball around. I mean, obviously, yesterday was the Travis Kelce show. Guy had 4 touchdowns. But Valdez Scantling has caught the ball. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has caught the ball out of the backfield. He's thrown to the other tight ends on Kansas City. Like, this guy has passed to everybody on their offense, essentially, throughout these games. And that's impressive to me, because he knows he doesn't have that number one speed. Well, he doesn't have that guy. He doesn't have Tariq Hill to really just blaze down the sideline and throw it deep. So he's doing everything he can to just, kind of manage what he has. And again, Kansas City is tough, but I'm with you guys, or at least I'm with David on this. I want Buffalo to win the game, because from the beginning of the year, thought, man, Buffalo looks great on paper. Yeah, maybe the running game isn't as good as it could be, but Singletary has done his job. He's done what he's supposed to do, and they're getting everything out of the passing game. Allen's to Diggs is phenomenal. So, I think Buffalo's still marching forward. That's the team to beat to me, and I think this is a game that Kansas City needs as well to prove that they haven't gone anywhere and that they still could be a dominant team in the AFC. So it's going to be a great game. I wouldn't touch this one either, because I saw it was the 2.5 points. I'm like, I'm not picking this one at all, because I don't know what's going to happen. So I left it alone for my picks this week. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not touching this one.
We found one that Nick doesn't want to smoke for. How about that?
No, I don't. No, I don't, because again, I don't want it. I don't, because like I said, David said it's only 2.5 points, and Kansas City's getting it because they're at home, so they're the favorite. It's like, ooh, really? Who did that? What does Vegas know that I don't know? But again, I hope Buffalo comes out on top. And again, I think we're all anticipating this game. David, thank you for picking this one, because I know this one is definitely on everybody's mind for this week, as it's got to be the game of the week. I don't care what anyone says. This is definitely one for the books, hopefully, and I hope we're not disappointed. I hope it's not a 10-9 game, because that would just suck.
Oh.
You know what I mean? We're talking all about all this offense and all this stuff, and the defenses just come out and take over, and it's like 11-10 in that San Francisco-Seattle game or whatever. Like no one wants to see that. We don't want to see. We want offense here, folks. This is one of those games. I want 45-42 or something. Give me something good. But okay, so there we go. You guys have heard it here. Game of the week. Of course, we want to thank David Wright for coming on. David, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, folks, as you know, we have a guest every week, so don't be surprised if you see that pretty beard again before this year is over. So thank you all again. And David, again, thank you very much. So let's go to commercial now. If you want to see all of us have appeared on other shows, and here's a list of all those shows that we have in the Let's Talk Football family. Let's go to that. Thank you.
Real quick, before you do that,
all right, go ahead, David. Sure.
Has moved to Tuesday night.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Just so everybody,
the fantasy shows on Tuesday now.
Be going on after you guys on Tuesdays now, because 6 a.m. on Sunday is. I'm not built for that.
I don't know too many people who are, David. I don't think you're the only one. But thank you for I appreciate the note change. So we'll have to get that corrected in the video. But again, for those of you listening, so we got the fantasy show on Tuesday nights now after the Roundtable. So, but here is a video for all the shows that we do have in the Let's Talk Football family. Take it away there, producer Sean. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is where you can find all of the shows in Let's Talk Football Family. And real quick, before we get to our next segment, I do want to shout out the guy behind the whole thing here, Mr. Sean Spencer, our producer on this lovely Tuesday night show. Does a phenomenal job with getting us the ins and outs, the videos, and all that. He does all that himself. And as you saw, he already had the time change for the fantasy football show. So this man is on top of it. Thank you, Sean, so much for that. But your Commanders are still going to lose to the Bears on Thursday, so you're just going to.
Oh, and just like that, my running days is over.
See, that's how it goes. I get no. I'm telling. I'm like the Rodney Dangerfield of this show. I get no respect at all. Let me tell you. But of course, moving on from Sean's hijinks, our next segment is a great one as well because you get to hear about people you might not always know about. So, Mr. Fingers, as he likes to be called, Anthony Handy, is going to grace us with his presence and his ever popular segment of the Rookie Spotlight. Take it away, Anthony.
Hey there, ladies, and thank you, Nick. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How is everyone doing out there in the ethosphere, in the cheap seats? Let me hear you say. Okay, whatever. Take your vitamins and say your prayers. Anyway, this is Mr. Fingers coming to you from Zagnif Central, this week's edition of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable, with your Rookie Spotlight. We're talking about a young man who attended Martin Luther King High School in Detroit, Michigan. He played wide receiver and cornerback in high school. Prior to his senior year in 2018, he was named one of the top 5 players in the entire state of Michigan in his class by 24/7 Sports. In a Division III state championship, he caught 4 passes for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. At the season end, he was named the first team All-State selection at defensive back by the Associated Press. That is a big deal for those of you that don't know. That's a really big deal. If you're not a sports person and you're just watching and AP says you're a big deal, you are a very big deal. He was a 3-star recruit and he committed to play football at the University of Cincinnati. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about none other than the one, the only Mr. Ahmad Sauce Gardner from University of Cincinnati. His nickname was actually very unique. I I thought there was something to it. Like he's got that speed, he's got that style, he's got that sauce. Actually, he got that nickname as a child just because he had a really big affinity for dipping sauces. That's it. No big swag story to his football style. He just liked dipping sauces. And his youth football coach started nicknaming him Sauce. So much so that in 2022, he partnered with Buffalo Wild Wings to endorse a new sweet and spicy barbecue sauce known as the Sauce Sauce. And yes, I'm going to call him Sauce, Sean. I had to lead into the nickname story, sir. I appreciate you. Producer Sean. He always looking out for us, though. Hey, lady, you called him Dr. Jones. Anyway, in 2019, in his freshman season, he played in 11 games. Listen, I could read you stats for days. Boy was an absolute beast. Finished up his career at Cincinnati. 33 games. He had a total of 99 tackles combined with solo and assists. He only had 5.5 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks. They had 9 interceptions for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. He wound up being named the AAC Defensive Player of the Year, a consistent All-American, and a 3-time first-team All-AAC player while he was at Cincinnati. He was drafted in the 4th round. He was drafted 4th overall, not in the 4th round. Oh, my Lord. They put some respect on his name. He was drafted 4th overall by the Jets, and he signed his rookie contract just a mere 5 months ago on May 7th. I didn't know that. It's a very special day. Personal story. We'll get into that another time. Anyway, here's what I like about Sauce Gardner. This kid, watching these highlights, I got to see him play a lot over the course of the last couple of years because, of course, Georgia played Cincinnati in the Peach Bowl. We saw Cincinnati again at that crazy season they had last year, all the way to the college football playoffs. He's got ridiculous awareness in space during coverage. He could be one-on-one with his guy and a play take place behind him, and he's one of the first people. He's one of the first people to the ball. Break off his coverage, bam, right there, making a tackle. This guy's crazy. He doesn't allow a whole lot of separation, and he very rarely gets burned. That's something you don't see a lot, and that's something you don't see a lot with corner at any level, high school, college, pros. He doesn't get burned very often. He's got this stupid field awareness. Like I said, he knows how to break off his coverage. If the play takes place behind him, he's covering somebody. Ball, bam. He's right back there in the thick of things, getting ready to break somebody off. And let me tell you something. If you see Sauce Gardner, I said it this time, producer Sean. Did I do okay? Are we doing good? Okay. If he sets up on the line of scrimmage, the quarterback better look out because he's gonna come up. He's gonna come up and lay one on him. He's gonna lay some lumber on him. Now, of course, in the league with the increase in roughing the passer calls, he might have to. I don't know. I saw something on the NFC South about a special kind of tackle. We'll get into that later. But anyway, my point is, if you see Sauce Gardner on the line of scrimmage, not lined up on a man, he's coming for the quarterback's head. He runs a 4.41, so his closing speed is stupid. Quarterback hardly ever sees him coming. It's maybe 6 paces before he's right on the quarterback's head. And he rarely gets – I mentioned that already. Did I mention that already? I mentioned that already. He very rarely gets burned. Already starting to make an impact. During week 5 against the Dolphins, he made his first career interception, and the Jets won that one 40-17. So far, he's got combined 20 tackles. He's got that one interception. Doesn't have any touchdowns yet. Doesn't have any touchdowns yet. Now, here's the thing. We're only 6 weeks into the season, but we're seeing a serious little bit of a statistical serious little bit. That's kind of a oxymoronic statement, a very ironic oxymoronic statement. We're seeing a lot of statistical improvement with the Jets in their pass defense. Now, last year, their opponents were able to complete 68% of their passes. They logged 7 interceptions the whole season. 17 games, 7 interceptions. So far in 2022, we're in week 6. They have improved their pass completion allowance to 64%, and they've already matched their interception total so far this season. What they got all of last season, they already have 7 interceptions now, and they're already 3-2, and they are a big surprise. They're second in the AFC East. The Jets are normally right out the gate last, and they're just going to stay last. And they seem to have a little bit of a swagger to that game, and I have no idea why that is. I'm wondering if that's a little bit of a coincidence, or if I'm really wondering if maybe the Jets nutrition specialists have been serving up some new menu meals with a special type of sauce. I'm Mr. Fingers, and this has been your Rookie of the Week spotlight for Sauce Gardner. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Did you see the sauce?
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Handy, for that. We definitely are looking out for Mr. Sauce. And again, being a young man on that Jets team, man, they look, a couple of years, they put it together. You might be seeing the Jets a lot more. But thank you for that. We are going to move on to our next segment. That was a good one. Yeah. I appreciate that.
I didn't know how he got his nickname, so I appreciate that backstory.
Right. I always love a good backstory. Exactly. That's for sure. But all right. So now it's time for the segment where I bring the show down because for some reason I just can't get it right this year, ladies and gentlemen. I went 1-3 last week. I got let down by the Chiefs. I thought they'd blow out the Raiders. Anyways, you don't want to hear about that. I went 1-3, bringing my season total to 7-13. So we got to get on the board here, folks. I got 4 more games for you this week to pick because, again, I never give up. I will always be in the fight. And producer Sean has been nice enough, again, to put my picks in there because with my old man brain, I always write this stuff down and forget where I put it. So my first game of the week was Patriots-Browns. Now, the Patriots are coming off that drubbing of the Lions. They blanked them. 0 points. Which the Lions were the number 1 offense going into last week, obviously, and the Patriots shut them down with a 3rd-string quarterback, Zappy, my man. And I'm not sold on the Browns with Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, the Browns are favored in this game -3, which means the Patriots are getting 3. So I'm going to go ahead and take Bill Belichick and his Patriots with 3rd-string quarterback Zappy, because I'm not sure when Mac Jones is actually going to be back. But I will take them +3 this week against the Browns. Now, for my next game, Mr. Sean, we have Giants-Ravens. Now, here we go, because here's the conversation that we have to have about this one. The Ravens are a good team. We know that. They've been in some tough ball games and they've lost a couple tough ones, but they are going up against the 4-1 Giants. To me, this is a test. This is to see if the Giants really are legit. Are they going to be able to take on a team that has a good offense, a pretty decent defense, and of course, they're the underdog in this game. They're getting 5 points. The Ravens are favored by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants. I'm going to give Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and those boys the benefit of the doubt this week. I'm going to go Giants +5 against the Ravens. So that's number 2. Number 3 here, Cardinals, Seahawks. Did anybody see Geno Smith play last week? Now, if you did, you had to be impressed with what that young man did. I know I was, and I've given Geno a hard time in the past, and a lot of us have, perennial backup. This kid doesn't have it, blah, 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 blah. Been in the league too long, whatever. But Geno's balling out, man. They gave him the ball over Drew Lock, and Geno has been playing well. He really showed that last week, especially. And they get the Cardinals. Now, to me, the Cardinals are one of those teams who I just don't know what's going on with Kingsbury there. They lose a tough game. They get this and that. They seem to be in it, but, they had a great comeback win against the Raiders. But nonetheless, they take on the Seahawks this week. And, of course, the Cardinals are favored by 2.5. But I'm going to take Seattle with the 2.5. I have a feeling Geno's going to come back out, and have another good game. He's, he really, in a sense, has nothing to lose at this point, I would think, because they've given him the job and they're letting him run with the ball. So I'm going to go with Seattle in this one plus the 2.5. Now, for my final game of this 4 games, of course, is Cowboys-Eagles. Now, I know what you're all thinking. You can see on the screen there that I put Cowboys plus 4.5. I like the Eagles. Yeah, again, we've all talked about our non-Cowboy fandom, but you have to respect what Mike McCarthy and the boys are doing there with Cooper Rush. As he said, David told you, he's managing the game, not as good as Dak could, but Cooper Rush, for the defense that he has, he's getting the job done. And that's what you want from a kid who's just playing in the meantime. Because I think we all know that Dak will be back when he is ready to go. But this is a test for the Eagles. They're 5-0, and they've had a couple of close calls themselves. And the Cowboys, I'm starting to at least believe with that defense, because that Micah Parsons and Diggs in the back, they're proving to be really, really tough on everybody. So I'm going to take the Cowboys plus the 4.5. So that's Nick's picks for this week. As I said, I'm a whopping 7-13 on the season so far. But I hope to turn that around this week with this as we sit here. Patriots recap. Patriots +3, Giants +5, Seahawks plus 2.5, and Cowboys plus the 4.5. Those are Nick's picks for this week. Tune in next week when you find out if I blew it again or do I become the hero. All right. Well, on to what we're on to next, and that is going to be a quick video before we come back with our last segment. So enjoy this. All right, of course, that is the NFC Takeover Show, or NFC South Takeover Show, which airs right before ours. If you're in the Let's Talk Football family and you're paying attention, you know that they air before we do. So that's always a great thing. Again, you can check out our slew of shows. We've got something going just about every day of the week. So, subscribe to our Let's Talk Football page on Facebook. Catch us on YouTube, Twitter, and anywhere else that you can find this lovely podcast. So now we've come, as Boys to Men would say, to the end of the road. In that sense, we have our last segment. But yes, TGIT, Sean and I talked earlier. Thank God it's Tuesday. We all appreciate that because we get to talk football. And now we get to give you a little bit of ourselves. These always one last thoughts are always something personal for all of us. So here we go. Our last segment, of course, is one last thought. And this week, we will start with the lovely Delilah as she gives us her last thought. Delilah, what do you got for us?
All right. So basically what I wanted to kind of end my final thought is you can't, like I wasn't ready because I was thinking about what I wanted to end the show with, and I didn't want anything too corny, but I just I think you have to come back to me because I honestly don't. I'm
Okay,
not
no.
sure yet.
All right.
Sorry.
Handy, you got anything for? No, that's okay. Hey, we're live, baby. Anything can happen. No problem. Mr. Handy, you got something for us?
I do indeed, and
I don't know why.
I remember to unmute myself this time. Haha.
Fantastic.
Fantastico. Conflict resolution in a relationship is not as difficult as most people think. Sometimes, if you take a couple of minutes before you immediately in 2022, it's I didn't like what they did. They're immediately wrong. I'm right. Boom. No attempt at conflict resolution whatsoever. If you take a step back, maybe try and consider where the other person is coming from. Like if it's something legitimate, not like some legit, you should be angry over stuff. Take a minute, step back, take a breather, go back into it, come to them, talk to them as a person and not go at them as a combatant. You'd be surprised how many things you can resolve in a relationship without having to be confrontational. And that is something that I am finding out as I am growing older. I have now been married between, I won't say how many marriages, but I have now been married between multiple marriages for almost 28 years. And I have learned a lot, especially with this last one. This is the longest relationship I've been in. Yeah. Conflict resolution. It doesn't have to be a shouting contest every time. Just stop, breathe, listen to what the other person said, think about what they said, then give your answer. Doesn't always have to be a shut up. I don't just Anyway, that's all I got.
No, hey, I think that's important. That's good stuff. I personally am not married, but I will appreciate the thought. And if it ever happens, I will come back to that, Mr. Handy. I appreciate that. I'll go next then. I'll give Delilah some more time. No problem. Okay, so let me start by saying just gratefulness for one is something that I've totally been trying to practice lately. Sean and I talked earlier, and I left a voice clip on the thing, and Sean responded back to me in a way I wasn't expecting. He's like, "You just sound happy, Nick." Well, Sean, I am. I won't lie. To start this year for about the first 7-8 months did not go really well for me. I didn't necessarily show that to everyone, but I was struggling with a lot of different things. I'm a heavy guy, struggle with my weight, the struggle with thoughts I had about how to take care of that, what to do. And I was struggling in my job. I had a full-time job up until July. Everybody knows about my seasonal job at Wrigley Field, but I had another job that I had up until July when I was fired by the company. And if you ever want to ask me about that, we can get into the reasons later. But I was let go. And at the time I thought, my first thought was, man, I'm going to miss that salary because, obviously I was a manager, so I made a pretty decent living. And that was my first thought. And it was like, okay, my friend, you got to turn that around somehow. And that's part of what I want to talk about right now here is that, life has its ups and downs. It really does. And you have to ride the roller coaster sometimes. But just to show you that losing that job was actually a blessing in disguise for me. And it's always funny that when I sit down and just really think about things like that happen, and you go, man, that turned out to be one of the greatest things to honestly happen to me because my life has just been, it wasn't so much the job, but it was me. But getting the opportunity then to have a little bit more time to work on me in terms of weight, I got a new primary care physician, I got some new insurance, I ordered some new glasses, I've got, and here's the big announcement. I got a new job today. I went for an interview this afternoon and I got the job. So now I've got a nice new part-time job that pays me pretty decently. I can work, about 25 to 30 hours a week. So everything's on the up and up, my friends. I was happy today, Sean. So thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, I mean, it's just gratefulness. Again, life sometimes can bring you down, but you got to get up. Kind of in the, the Al Pacino and Any Given Sunday, you got to get up. you fight, you claw, you do all that. And that's what you got to do, guys. We all know life can be hard sometimes, but you got to pick yourself up off the mat and just keep on moving. So thank you guys all. I mean, again, doing this show has been a great help for me. I love you guys. Your support, just watching the show and everything in the comments, when we talk in the group chats and everything, I love it. I mean, you guys are the best. I really do appreciate you guys. I love you guys too. I truly do. Being able to do this every Tuesday is great for me. I love it. I get to talk football with my friends, just have a good time. I try to entertain as best I can, of course. But again, just practicing gratefulness and really happy with, the next chapter in my life. I got a few more, because again, for those of you not aware, I got a big birthday coming up in January. I hit the big 50. I've got 3 months till 50. And I'm hoping that, life just starts over for me at 50, baby. I'm on the way back and, working on the weight thing and doing all that. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you. And that's what I have to say for my last thought, which was more like a monologue. So let's go then back to Delilah.
I love it though. Congratulations. I'm happy to hear all these good things happening to you. I think you're awesome. Yes. I like that we're doing this show together, by the way. It's been great.
Thank you.
I'm so happy.
But for those who don't know, real quickly, Delilah and I have known each other now probably about 10, 12 years. We met at a local bar by Wrigley. That's how we met. I met her and Kev, her fiance, about the same time. But Delilah and I, real quickly, again, I don't take too much time, but have had many a conversation. No joke, guys.
No, it's true.
It'd be Delilah and I in the bar, sitting at the bar, just talking to each other about everything. We've talked life, we've talked football, we've talked everything you could think of under the sun, generally with a couple of beers in our hands or whatever, but that's no big deal. That's what we do. But I really, Delilah, from the bottom of my heart, I have nothing but love for you. I truly thank you for just being a part of my life for the last 10, 12 years and for doing this show. I mean, Anthony, I love you too, buddy. But like I said, I've known Delilah a long time now. And, I appreciate you so much. I truly do. I appreciate you so much. And Kev as well. Kev is great to talk to as well. If you don't know Delilah's fiance, I love talking to Kev too. But thank you so much. And again, go ahead and give me your last
thought.
No,
thank you. That made me emotional. What I wanted to say is that I was reading William Shatner's article where he was talking about how he went to space, right? And usually you always hear, astronauts coming back and like, oh my God, the Earth is so beautiful and whatever. And he had like a different perspective, and he wasn't wrong, right? He said, while everybody was looking at the Earth, I decided to turn around and look out into space. And he was like, and all I saw was just a void and like blackness and right, it's space, right? And I think that when you realize how small we are in the whole like cosmos of things, right? Yeah. And I feel like you don't have to go to space to realize that, but sometimes I guess you need that. And it's like I wish that there were that we could really understand just how insignificant we are in the cosmos. Not as people. I don't mean that your lives are insignificant. You know what I mean? I mean just in the grand scheme of things.
Totally.
We really are a speck, right? If anybody ever read, Horton Hears a Who, even seen the movie, right?
No,
it's like
sure, yeah.
We're a speck flying through these cosmos, and sometimes I wish that we would realize that so many of our issues are so insignificant. Like we let things that honestly shouldn't be an issue be an issue. Like
okay.
And I wish that there was just more togetherness, and I wish that we could realize that we are all human beings at the end of the day. We all bleed the same color, and I just bleed the same blood, breathe the same oxygen, and I wish that we just took care of each other more, spread more kindness, treated the earth better. We only have one home, right? We only people leaving to space, guys, are the billionaires, all right? We're stuck here. Don't forget, right? Only the uber wealthy can get out of here. So I want us to just, spread more kindness and just more awareness of, who we are as a species. And I just want to see more of that, because sometimes it could be so like overwhelming. And it's like, But yeah, that's really what I want. I want us really to see how much more kindness. It doesn't take much to be kind. I'm not saying be nice,
No.
right? Because that's different. I'm saying be kind,
Mhm.
right? So like if
Right.
we could
Mhm.
spread more of that, I feel like it would be better. You know, we would be better off. That's all. Just let's spread some kindness, y'all.
No, no, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, it doesn't, it doesn't cost anything to be nice to someone. It truly doesn't. I mean, again, like you said, like, we're all here. We're all, we all bleed the same. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. We all do all that stuff. Like, it just, we're here together, and that's really why. Again, it's really why I enjoy this. It's not because I think this is gonna, and I don't mean to say it like that, but it's, this is. I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here to, I love doing this with you guys. I truly do. Like, I enjoy this so much. It gives me a chance to talk football with my friends and just be stupid, try to be funny, laugh at Anthony every week. I try to get that, get that in as well, because he's just such a nice guy who's still got mute. You still can't talk. Let me tell you something. You better turn your microphone on, Skip Bayless. I'm gonna talk over you all night, boss.
What you not finna do right now, Nicholas Rosario? I don't care. I know they call you Mister. I want the smoke. I smoked all the smoke, so you don't want to bring that over here, boo boo. That's all I got to say about that.
Right. Anyways, as we were saying, no, but again, we like to entertain you here on the Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. I'm not gonna lie. We bring you the football, we bring you the funny, we bring you everything we can, but most of all, we just bring you us. We're just three people who enjoy talking sports, and we try to give you as much of our personalities and as much of our spirit as we can. And we appreciate you guys all watching, truly. For Mr. Fingers, for Delilah, we love you guys. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week. We'll be back with who knows what. It could be, you never know what's going to go on this show. That's for sure. But again, we do appreciate y'all watching. And okay, it shouldn't be on the brink of extinction that we, as a species, decide to come together. I always hope on kindness in this world. Nicole, 100%, 100%, darling. And we truly appreciate, again, all of you guys commenting. You're watching right along with us. You guys are, just like us, having fun doing these shows, talking football, talking with your friends, all this good stuff. So we appreciate you all. Thank you all for watching. And I guess we will see you all again next week. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Peace and love always. Bam.